Yo, what is going on, everyone? And welcome back to the Biotech Buzz, your favorite place for all things biotech stocks. My name is Rohan, and I am joined, of course, by our wonderful host, Vivi the Biotech Queen. Vivi, what's going on?
Nothing much. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Chat, everyone joining us. How are you today? Ready to
I'm
talk
doing
some
great.
biotech?
Yeah, it's beautiful San Diego here. The weather is amazing.
That
Super
is good to
sunny
hear.
and warm. Finally, the summer is here. August. It just takes a couple of months to get here.
Yeah, it seems like it changes his mind every so often. It's definitely a bit of a gloomy day here in Detroit, but
Yeah, in San Diego, we call it May gray, June bloom, and July, I don't know. July is a wild card. So sometimes you have sun, sometimes you don't. But now it's sunny as can be. It definitely feels like summer.
There we go. That's what we like to hear. Born to be free in the chat. It's wonderful today. We already got some tickers coming in. So why don't we go ahead and get started? Oh, that is my phone alarm.
Okay, if you can put up the KMPH on a chart.
Sure. Let's get that up. KMPH. How are you doing today? All right.
So I don't know if you remember back in last year, it was so funny because I think I talked to about it. It was around $4. I was very confident on approval. It got approved. Even Jason was like, I usually don't. The market cap is too small. I can't believe I bought it. But he was really happy because it went all the way to 16. And just like every biotech, it's the approval comes, it goes up. It's the float is it's relatively small and then goes back down because they have to produce sales, right? So for me is now it's gonna be the crunch time. They just launched this mid July. I trust a lot of the not just the scientists of Vyvanse, which is $3-5 billion drug, but also the management on Vyvanse came to Korean Health to help launch this drug. And somebody was saying on Twitter, oh, they're offering free samples and a $70 copay discount. So it's pretty normal having free samples and also having free copay. So what happened is when you have a drug that is not generic and it's a brand new drug, you're going to have to do a prior authorization. So it's going to be up to the rep to hustle to get the staff to do prior authorization for that patient. So when you do a prior authorization, that falls into a tier 3. A tier 3 medication is usually a $75 copay, $100 copay. So I've sold before against generic market, and exactly what we do. We offer the copay, we push through the prior authorization process, and then the patient gets to pay, as low as zero copay, up to $20 copay. So technically, the patient is pretty much paying the same price they would pay if it was a generic drug. So then you have a tier 2, which is the branded, and tier 3 is usually when it's not on a formulary. But one thing that the CEO pointed out, which is really cool, so most of the ADHD drugs are Schedule 2, right? This is also Schedule 2, but 70% of its components is a Schedule 4, which is a lot less addictive, right? So you have a 70% of the molecule as addicted. So the CEO was explaining, how the insurance companies are going to be able to compete with that and say, no, we're not going to cover your product because it's more expensive. At the end, they don't want a lawsuit. There's a lot of lawsuits with opioid use and addiction. So the CEO also mentioned in an interview that he's having a lot of requests from payers already, interested in putting that drug on a formulary. So it's gonna be, we're gonna be here in a limbo until we know what kind of a launch we have and we know what kind of sales we're having. So I'm still holding portion of that, what I had when I bought for $4. I have a portion long term. I believe in a company for sure. So that's my 2 cents on KMPH. Now, if you can move over to BCRX, because I want to remind everybody that we have earnings. BCRX, not BCRD.
Yeah. for the finger there. All right, here we go.
Yeah, so BCRX, really excited for the earnings on Thursday. I know they're going to beat earnings. It's my long term, is my baby. I told you guys I have a lot of shares. I'm counting to retire with the BioCrest. So I'm very bullish that we're going to beat earnings on Thursday. And then if you can move over to CKP8, because I saw CKPT, because I saw somebody saying on a chat, so I can address that.
There we go.
So CKPT, I can't even believe is only like what, $2.50, $2.53. So all the BlackRock and everybody else bought the shares for $2.90. I bought to $2.70. They are having a study, phase 3 readout in October. So I'm hoping we can get a bump before that. But recent studies on the drug has seen that they have a better efficacy than Keytruda. Keytruda is pretty much the leader in the market. I mean, they have like 80% of share of market. So I think selling against Keytruda is going to be a really tough. But I think the payers are dying to see something comparable, even more efficacious, to be able to put on a formulary, because you want to have options for patients. Not everybody responds to a certain molecule, especially when it comes to cancer. So to know that, so TGTX is another very successful company. The CEO is also on a board of this company. This company, part of the company is owned by Fortress, FBIO, Biotech. So I'm still very bullish. I don't plan to hold 90%. Look what happened to ARDX. I really thought that was a slam dunk. So I don't plan holding full until then, but I feel like this is a nice little swing from August through October. I don't think you can get any lower than 250. So it could be that I heard that there's a gap down to 170. So maybe people want to wait. It's only August. So October is where they're going to read the data. But I think this company, analysts predicting the PT is $18 a share for this company. So I see if they can really prove concept and prove that it's a more efficacious and good overall response. I can see the analysts upgrading even to $20, $30, $40 a share. So I'm holding that as a swing. And then if you can put it on, Rohan, SCSN.
SCSN. Oh, is it SESN?
SCSN.
Benzen?
Yeah. So little disappointing here that we're not seeing a huge bump. We have FDA approval August 18th. Like I said, after the debacle ARDX, I'm a little worried. But what happened is they have a drug called Vicinium that had a priority review that has a very similar efficacy as Keytruda. But what's going to be cool about this drug is you're going to be able to do infusion into the urologist's office before they have to send their patients out to do chemo, not this drug. So a lot of the urologists already said that they would prioritize this drug over Keytruda because you're able to take care of their patients in their office. So I'm very, very, if you guys go to Yahoo boards, oh my God, it's pretty much talking, that Vicinium is a locally administered fusion protein. It's Sense Bio's lead product candidate that's being investigated for the treatment of a high-risk BCG unresponsive non-muscle invasive bladder cancer. The FDA accepted the application priority review on February 16, and they are expecting peak revenues of 1 billion to 3 billion globally, with 400 million to 900 million coming from the US. So the analysts said that Vicinium displays an overall better safety and clinical profile compared to Keytruda, which should lead to FDA approval. So everyone is very, very bullish on the approval of Sensio Bio. I haven't decided what I'm going to do in terms of how much I'm going to hold through, if any, through approval, because I have a PTSD, you guys. Like, if you can go back to ARDX, I really really, really, really thought this was a slam dunk. 3 pivotal trials. I need a lot of pill burden compared to the competition. You have all the nephrologists behind it. You had a sales force waiting to get this job, to get the job and start selling. We have a delay in April that didn't talk anything about efficacy whatsoever. It talked about labeling. To then to be hit by this news with FDA, I have a PTSD for sure. I mean, I'm down like 50 grand. I'm still waiting for that A meeting just to see how long it's going to take, because it's a lot of the specialists are fighting for this drug to be approved. And I just refuse to take a loss right now. But I mean, it shook me. I mean, I don't mind losing money when I'm like, okay, maybe I should have put a stop loss here, or maybe it was my fault. They did an offering. But when you have like that much of confidence and you have a 95% institutional ownership believing that this drug is going to get approved, I have to say, I am like really, really, I have a PTSD when it comes to PDUFAs now, because FDA is being really, really unpredictable. So I'm definitely a little more worried about, holding through. So now you guys talking about, okay, so if you can put it up, SCNS, which is another one that I'm still holding. So when you look at SCNS, they have the device, the 180 days device for glucose monitoring. And they already have that approved in Europe. They had a recent study published that the efficacy is amazing, accuracy of a reading. So parents are not going to have to switch their device on their kids' arms every 90 days, but it will be every 6 months. So I'm still holding. I think the approval it's in October. So I definitely believe this company has huge potential. It's 11% of this company is owned by Merck. So Merck, not Merck, Roche Diagnostics. So Roche owns 11% of this company. So I could see this company getting the 180 and then, being bought out by Roche. Never know. So definitely. And then if you can put it on SPPI, somebody was asking. Yeah, I'm still holding. I have a friend in the industry that has a really, really high conviction that this is going to get approved. And they, the medication is for neutropenia for patients with chemo. They were waiting an inspection. I think the inspection went through and I was just waiting for approval. But like everybody says, FDA has been so overwhelmed with the COVID and, vaccines. Everything is being delayed. Everything is being extended. So I'm still holding. I don't have a huge position, but I'm still holding just to see what's going to happen. And have you heard that ivermectin is said to enhance Keytruda and Thomas cancer drug efficacy? Do you guys want to hear something really funny about ivermectin, right? Ivermectin is it's not pesticide. It's for, you guys can help me. It kills. Okay. So you have in the United States, ivermectin is not approved. It's approved for lice and fleas, but in a form of a cream, right? So ivermectin is a 0.5% cream. You put in a kid's hair. I don't know if anybody has kids that had lice before, but in Brazil, we use that to kill the lice, taking a pill. So the funny thing is, I had a bunch of ivermectin that I brought in Brazil. And, oh yeah, parasites, any kind of a parasite. So yeah. So, if I'm sure next guard has got to be a little bit of a ivermectin. But the oral is approved in Brazil, right? And every time I go to Brazil, I bring tons of it, because if you catch lice, you take a pill, not just the cream, and it kills, like it goes into your bloodstream, and if the lice decides to procreate in your head, it dies. And I had a bunch of, you guys are laughing, right? I had a bunch of ivermectin, and when I got COVID, because in Brazil they're using as prophylaxis to, when I had COVID, I'm like, oh, I have so much of that, I'm just gonna go ahead and just try it out. But seriously, you guys, ivermectin in the United States, you just have to put in your child's hair and leave it for a little bit. But in Brazil, actually, you eat the pill to kill the lice. So it's pretty funny. So yeah, no, I haven't seen the whole ivermectin together with the Keytruda, but it's definitely an interesting drug. I don't even know if they have oral ones in United States. I don't know. They might have, because I think a lot of doctors are using that for COVID as off-label use. You guys are laughing about that, right? Take a pill and then the lice goes away. Let me see what else here. I'm gonna write it down for Thursday, you guys, because I'm looking here at the chat. I think I seen Joseph. I seen SCYX before, but I'm just gonna write it down.
Yeah, we've
AX,
definitely mentioned that one at some point on the
yeah,
show a while back.
ABCL. Okay.
We had Davis Sunu in the chat who liked us to take a look at NCNA.
I see that. I see that. Now I'm like right in front of it. And then a lot of mentions in ABSL. And then P has CMPS and CMMB, which is awesome. And it won a Nobel Prize for killing river blindness and another illness in Africa for 30 years. Really? Okay. Trevina, man, I haven't even voted. Maybe I missed the voting. I'm just so bummed out with Trevina, because I do believe Trevina can take the market of a morphine, especially when there's a lot of a shortage. I am still holding. It's on my IRA. I'm sure we're gonna get our ass kicked once we have a reverse split. So, but it is what it is. I'm still holding. And then if you can put, I talked to guys a few months ago, and maybe we're too soon, but I told you guys this company is to put under your radar. This company is going to be amazing. Can you pull out HJLI?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. And then if you can put it, the latest news.
Let's take a look at the news on that.
And of course, it went all the way to $8. It got sold off because they haven't even begun the study. So look at the right here. The FDA granted breakthrough device designation, the top one. Why is this moving? The top one, if you can see, right there on top. Yeah, hit there.
I think that just kind of stays there.
Okay, it doesn't stay there. Okay, so pretty much, guys, they have a device to treat CVI. CVI is a very debilitating disease on the veins of your legs. The only thing that is a cure right now is bandages. But these patients that were on preliminary trials on this company said that they were able to go back to their daily activities and working out and everything else. So I put on your radar is a low float stock. So every time there's news, there's a sell off, because they still are going to, they're still going to start the Vinovalve. So which is currently set to begin the U.S. pivotal trial. But this company, I think this company is going to be a multi-billion-dollar company. The market is huge, and I see this company being bought out. But unfortunately, you get the news and there's a sell-off because, they haven't even started their trials yet. So I think we're just a little too early on Vinovalve. But guys, put that on a radar. I see this company being a multi-billion-dollar drug company one day. So I sold it a while back too on my stop loss because, like I said, there's no product, so it's going to be lingering for a while until we have an approval. So stay tuned. When it's closer to approval date, we all should jump on it for sure.
Awesome. Yeah, no, it definitely seems like something to keep an eye on.
Okay, so okay, Danny. Yeah, me too. I do believe they can take the market. I believe that the launch for Trevina, for Oli, was in the middle of a COVID, so there was no access. But I do believe they're doing the reverse split because they want to attract more investors. And I believe that we can take a lot of the market of morphine, but we're just going to have to be we're just gonna have to be patient. Okay, somebody was telling me also, APRE, APRE.
Priya, yeah.
It looks really, really, I mean, it's a very, a very normal type of a blood cancer. The competition, it's kind of fierce, but is in phase 3. It looks really, really promising. Somebody was asking my opinion. For sure, looks very promising. I don't know in development wise how long this is going to take in terms of approval. So we would have to follow that. But I agree with you, Pete. It's been brutal month for sure. I'm holding a lot of like long-term bags, my swings. I finally unload INFI. I averaged down, and yesterday went crazy, and because there was a PT of a $14, but again, very far away from having a product. And I told you guys I don't hold for long term if they don't have a product coming up within 6 months. But I was able to unload INFI, made $1,500 yesterday. So little by little, my bags are coming, are unfolding into profit. But it's been a rough month for sure. I agree, especially with ARDX and that $50,000 punch in my stomach. It's definitely being, there's definitely being challenging for sure. So Biangio, I'm a long-term holder. I feel like that company has a lot of potential. It was a set and forget company. I bought a $5 a share. Now NSPR, again, just like HJLI, I lost a lot of money in SPR. I still think this company is gonna be a multi-billion-dollar company, but we were there too soon. And within SPR, they're gonna have a little news, low float is gonna push up, and then it's going to go down, So, okay, fast track designation is just, they accelerate the approval. They see a need for FDA designation. They see a need to kind of like prioritize approval on that drug because they see a need, So I'm holding a couple stocks as well. CRADA, okay. Rose, Jay, just rewind. I went over CKPT. I'm very bullish about that company. It's going to be Q4, so October. So we still have time to recover on that for sure. Okay, check. I'll check for you guys. The next one for sure. And geez, you guys are giving me a lot of material here for Thursday. Geez, ADPT, NNVC. I feel like I've seen NNVC before. TMDX. Okay. Okay, so one thing I have to say to you guys about NSPR, when the CEO told me, because devices usually takes a little less to get approved. These is like a year and a half. When the CEO on that last, before the reverse split, which killed everybody, he mentioned like, oh, in 3 years we're gonna have US approval. It's when I knew I needed just to take my loss, because 3 years from now it's a long time. You can make your money 3 times over the amount, make it up the loss. So I still believe that NSPR it's going to be a huge company one day, but unfortunately we're just too soon. The CEO, when the CEO said 3 years from now, I was like, what? 3 years? That's a long time to hold a stock, So it's a bummer. But if you want to do set and forget it, a lot of people invest and they just forget that stock there and they don't care, for the fluctuations of price. I just felt like I needed to use that money someplace else to make it up. Okay, ITRM. Man, I had told you guys that I was totally, they failed 3 studies before they finally get that study for an uncomplicated UTI. Now the FDA wants to study comparing to head-to-head compare with another antibiotics, which they should have done a long time ago. What they should have done is, okay, let me take Cipro, let me take our drug, and let's do a head-to-head study. Let's treat these UTIs. Let's put one group, with you could have done 3 groups: a group with the placebo, a group with the Cipro, and another group with their antibiotics, just to kind of compare efficacy. So yeah, ITRM is going to be a great potential once the studies are done, but it's a long way to go. And again, that was like, just like ARDX, it was really lame. They asked for an extension and never once mentioned that they had concerns with efficacy. And then 3 months later, they hit us. Oh, now we want additional studies comparing to other antibiotics. So that was pretty lame. But I never had a lot of trust on that company because they had three failed studies before they could get one efficacious study. So that was my main concern. And I guess that's it, you guys. I am writing down everything I can. I bought Zella back. I know it's not bio. I just saw somebody here. I made so much money with Zella, but I bought Zella back because we have earnings on August 10th, and this is like $1 billion revenue company. Hopefully they're not only going to show earnings with all those wonderful partners they have, but also they're going to also show us how they're minimizing, how their burning rate is crazy. They used to have $1 billion debt, but they did a lot of offerings. So hopefully we can see a better, ratio with that company on earnings August 10th. But yeah, I bought some back this morning. I think I like it when it's like the lowest, below 3. What is it now?
It's at 324 now.
Okay, good. Hopefully it will hold because we have earnings in a week.
Nice.
Yeah, so for sure. Okay, I think that's it, you guys. I am going to write down some of these. You never sent me the email, Rohan. Oh, no, it was not you. Aaron's supposed to email me all those stickers, but I wrote most of it here.
Okay,
and
I'll touch base.
I'll try. Yeah, no, don't worry. It was from last week. That's fine. I think everyone is asking again. Yeah, so, and then CLGN. Yes, thank you, North Cal. I hope the market goes up again, too. And I'll see you guys on Twitter.
All right, sounds good, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this episode of the Biotech Buzz. Of course, we will be back in just about, 2 days?
Yes, in 2
on
days.
Thursdays. So we'll see you then. We'll have some more tickers for you. Make sure you come ready with your questions. And thank you for joining us today. All right.
Okay, bye, you guys.
See you, everyone.